A teď už poprosím paní Petru Jens, která se mimo jiné proslavila i tím, že ve Vídni se věnovala psím exkrementům a věnovala se jim tak dobře, že skutečně je tím trošku stigmatizovaná, ale říkala, že to vůbec nevadí. Tak jsme maličko ve skluzu, tak poprosím, can you please come to me and take your space and yeah. So, it's yours.
Hello, thank you for inviting me. The first questions were, Petra, are you the one with the dog shit? Such a nice introduction. Okay, so if I was a doctor, I would say after such a long time of sitting, let's go for a walk. But we have some lessons still left, and so I'm not a doctor, I'm just a walking officer, so let's have a small intervention. Who has ever been to Vienna? Please stand up. Hey, great. Please sit down. Who wants to go to Vienna once in a lifetime? Please stand up. Yeah, okay. Who loves Praha? Please stand up. Yeah. And who likes to walk there? Please stretch your hands. Yeah, great. Thank you for joining me. I hope so you feel a little bit better now. Yes, my role at conferences is often the one to bring all the theory down to earth. I'm a practitioner. My task is to promote walking in the city. I'm not a traffic planner. I'm not I'm not in the road safety department. I'm just a communicator, and I have all instruments of communication to improve walking in the city. It means I have to change the mindset of the citizens, but also of authorities in terms of walking. You see here one of our latest image pics for children and children walking issues. And you see on these pictures, do you see a zebra crossing? No? Right. Do you see a traffic light? No. You see happy kids being connected with other kids, being connected to the surrounding, and yes, they look happy, I think. And that's the core message of our communication. We want kids to walk to school. We want parents to understand how important it is. And of course, we want kids to survive in our streets. Of course. But if you want to encourage people, if you want to raise the image of walking, it's not enough to supply streets where kids can survive. That's not enough. Municipality has to provide this, but it's not enough to do marketing for walking. So where is the nice thing? What do I have to do? Great. So you're lucky to have a major that is a doctor, because I'm sure he knows how important it is that kids walk to school every day. So if you say a way to school is about 10 minutes, you know the World Health Organization says 1 hour of activity should be provided to kids. So if they have an active way to school, this can be a third of the daily activity. And There is a psychologist in Switzerland. His name is Hüttenmoser. And he, over years, let kids draw their way to school. And this is a picture of William. He's 7 years old. And you see this picture is colorful. There are many details. How do you think? How does this kid come to school? Is it driven by car, or is it an active mode? Active, exactly. So this kid is connected to the environment during his way to school. This picture is made by Samuel, 7 years old. And this kid is driven to school. And you see what happens in the kid's brain if they have not the chance of being active and connected. One picture of a kid driven by to school by car was the backside of its mother's head. It's the world experience of a kid on the backseat of a car. And if I talk to parents, if I want to make them kids walk to school, I don't talk about road safety. I don't talk about traffic lights and so on. I talk about these two pictures, and then we come into a constructive conversation. Yeah, and now let's talk about school streets. We learned it from Jim, and I think also from Carlos. And I was asked to talk about it. It's nothing new. School streets is a ban of cars in front of schools for half an hour or 1 hour. It's not really a road safety measure. It's a parents' education measure, I think. It's an instrument to tell parents, please, if you drive your kids by car, don't do it until the front of the school. Do it 10 minutes away from the school so that the kid has the chance to walk a little bit, to have a chat with friends. And we started a pilot project in 2018, and this was the first school where we tried it out. It was very hard work to convince the authority to do it. And when they agreed, they said, okay, Petra, you can do it, but you have to fund it, you have to elevate it, you have to find spaces where the district major, the school, the parents, the headmaster, and the teachers do agree. Okay, we found it. We found a place for the pilot project, and we evaluated it. This was the school. It's a T-crossing, and it was not allowed to drive there for half an hour in the morning. You see here on the left side the situation in June without ban of cars, and then in September with a ban of cars. And in October, we tried to run the school street without a barrier on the street. And you see, it was not that perfect. There were some cars driving through the street. So at the end, the authorities said, okay, it has an impact, you can do it, but only with a barrier, with a scissor barrier. I will come to this later on. And we also looked at the behavior of parents. You see all these small red icons. Every icon is one car driven by parents to bring the kid to school. And the red ones behave in the wrong way, so they park in the second lane or do something wrong. And later on, we could see that this chaotic situation didn't move to the next crossing. It could be reduced and spread over the surrounding of the school. This was the second result of importance. We could prove that the problem is not just removed from one crossing to the next crossing. Yeah, and then we had a look at the behavior of kids, and you can see that the yellow piece of cake is the one of the kids driven by car. It was about 10%, not that much, but enough to cause chaotic sceneries, and it could be reduced to 7%, and more kids had an active mode of transport after implementation of school streets. And since then, we created some general rules for every partner, for the district, for the school, for the parents. And since then, we rolled it out. Actually, we have about 7 school streets, and in 2 weeks, we will open 2 new school streets. It's hard work, because for every school street, we have to find people that take the scissor barriers in the morning and put it back. It's often done by volunteers, by parents, by teachers. Yeah. So we tried to give teachers materials to talk about mobility in a new way than it's common. Common traffic education is about road safety. What's dangerous? How should I behave? And as I mentioned before, that's very important. But to create a shift, a change in mobility, that's not enough. We have to make a new mobility education that belongs to health issues, climate change issues, and so on. We started in kindergarten. That's the kindergarten box with materials. And you see this colorful poster. We put it in the front of the kindergarten for 1 week, and every child gets a sticker for this poster according to its mode of transport. So we started to create something for schools. It's called The City and You, and it's a combination of traditional road safety education activities of different organizations, added with new materials, with new workshops, and we made a new brand all around it. It's an umbrella brand. It's free for every school, and it has 3 topics. The blue box has the topic of walking to school. The second box is about discovering your district or your borough. And the third is about cycling. And meanwhile, we have the third rollout of this program. Actually, we reach 20% of school kids at the age of 6 to 10, and we want to reach 50%, so that every child has the chance to get in contact with new mobility education every second year, in average. And next year, we want to roll it out for the 11 to 14 years old. So that's the 3 phases of this program. If a teacher gets this box, we want the teacher to do 3 things. She should do at least 1 hour lesson with the materials. She should do a workshop with the police which everybody has to do. It's common. And then she can book a free workshop about walkability, about road safety, about cycling, and so on. And when the whole class has done all these 3 things, they get a goblet, an award. Every kid gets a medal. I'm the way to school professional. I'm the district champion, or I'm the cycling champion, or I'm the checker of my district. In German, it sounds nicer. Yeah. Something completely different. One project we started in 2019. The task was to do something against the heat in summer. And we said, okay, let's open streets for people so that they have more space. Please never say close a street. It was just closed for cars. It was opened to the people. It was so successful that we could roll it out in 2020. This was the basis, the heat map of Vienna, showing the hottest spots. And these spots where mostly elderly people or children do live. And along these spots, we created these cool streets, not school streets, cool streets, in 2020 for 3 months. And these streets were at 18 points all over Vienna. And they were managed. They had a container with materials, toys and so on, and seats. And we had teams for 20 hours per week that played with kids or talked to elderly people. We had water supply, dust fountains, and yes, this was a scenery of kids playing on the street. And unfortunately, we couldn't continue with this because the city decided to invest more in improving streets by planting trees and providing fountains, what's also a nice option and also good for the city. What is better than a school street? Better than a school street is to have a place in front of the school without cars the whole day and the whole night, and that's furnitured and planned with kids. Here, a project of a planning process together with kids and neighbors and parents. Now it looks like this. In front of the school is a park, and between is a car-free space, so the kids can move between the park and the school, and in the morning they have place for playing and having a chat. Yes. And we talked about monitoring and data. And these data are very important for me. When I started to be a walking officer 9 years ago, I had a look at the data, and I could see that 19% of the kids at the age from 6 to 10 were driven to school by car, 19%. And in 2020, we had a second survey, and the first thing when I hold this book in my hands was looking for this data. And I was very surprised and happy to see that we could reduce this number from 19 to actually 13%. It's just a special target group, just the kids from 6 to 10. And I know the database maybe is not that perfect, but we can see we go in the right direction. Everything I told you is here summarized with different links, and I thank you for listening.